Hello, hello. Welcome to our most recent, current Better Culture webinar. Thanks for being here. My name is Brett Hogaveen, one of Better Culture's co-founders. Excited to be here to talk about today's topic of breaking through the leadership plateau. We're going to cover 8 essentials for changing your leadership trajectory. Just as we get people on the call here a little bit, I thought I might invite you all, as you're joining in, to just see if this chat is working. Give me some sense of what comes to mind when you hear the word trajectory. Now, this does not have to be a leadership response. This can be anything that you want. Just give me some sense that you're here. Give me some sense of what comes to mind when you hear the word trajectory. All right. Christy, you and me are on the same path. A rocket comes to mind for me. We've got growth, a direction or a path, going upward, the right direction, the future. I like that. A path, where we're headed, etc. Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you, guys. Keep those coming if you like. That's great. Where we're headed. That's what today's webinar is about. It's about your leadership trajectory. It's about the path that you are on, or if you work with other leaders, it's the path that they are on in their professional career, in their effectiveness as a leader. It's about where we're headed, right? We're on some path, we're headed on some trajectory. And what happens to most people in a lot of things in life, we sort of get good enough at something and we kind of plateau. I'll give you an example or two as we get going, but heck, let's just do it right now. Something that comes to mind for me is typing, right? If I jump on a computer and I have to type an email, or if I have to send something and I have to use not just my thumbs, but all my fingers, I have not gotten faster at typing in the last probably 15 years. Like, I think I'm about the same speed, but I did get faster when I was in middle school and high school and maybe in college a little bit. And then I sort of plateaued. I got good enough. Okay. The same thing applies to leadership for most people. The first time you're exposed to it, you have an opportunity to lead a team or do something, you say, whoa, this is different, not what I expected. You learn through a few trials or tribulations, you make a little bit of progress, and we hope that we don't plateau. We hope that we don't just say, well, I think I know how to do this now. The goal is to bust through that plateau and to keep growing on our trajectory. So let's get rocking and rolling. Thanks for being here. I'm looking forward to, this is a really important topic, and we'll have a little bit of fun and some self-reflection as we go today. So everybody is on a trajectory, and the question is just whether that trajectory is something that's just happened to you or it's something that you are shaping. So if you're joining in and you're feeling like, yeah, I don't know if I have improved as a leader in the last few years, I wonder in what areas or how that would be. That's okay. That just means you're on a little bit of this plateau, and we're going to talk about what could you do or what could others do to change that trajectory intentionally, to take accountability and ownership for that trajectory, for sustained growth. Now, that did a lot more than I was expecting. So let's talk about the things that shape your trajectory when you're not being intentional about it. So, and this is one of those, again, I'd love you guys to share in the chat with me what stands out to you. But when you're not shaping your trajectory intentionally, there's a few things on this screen that I do think end up shaping how leaders show up and what they think leadership means. And some of that is just our routine. It's our calendar, it's our schedule, it's how often I meet with people, how often I do a team meeting. Just the routine that I get into shapes the way I show up as a leader. Another thing might be pressure. By the way, in the chat, if you'd like to share what you think may be unintentionally shaping you as a leader, if any of these stand out or if anything else, I'd love to see it in the chat. But it could be pressure. I'm under a deadline. There's something I'm trying to accomplish. There's some urgency, and that's sort of shaping how I show up, the things I say, the things I'm focused on, the things that are top of mind, the messages that I'm sending. A big one is just the environment or the relationships that you've stumbled into. The leaders that have role modeled for you. You just happen to work by them. The relationships that you have, the environment or the culture that you have, those types of things, maybe we don't know we're being shaped as a leader, but we absolutely are. It's the things that you're experiencing. Oh, that's what it means to be a leader here. You're watching someone else do it, or you just get a sense for how we operate. Those unintentional relationships and environmental issues can shape who we are. And then the last thing might be the past successes, past failures, things that you've done and that have worked, and so you just keep doing them, or things that maybe you've tried that didn't work that we need to work around. So yeah, I'm seeing you guys are telling me the culture for sure and the environment stands out. That doesn't surprise me. Let's see, pressure, environment, pressure, routine, supporting others. Yeah, for sure. So today we're going to go on the intentional side. I don't want to spend time talking about how do we accidentally turn into the leaders that we are and end up on that plateau. Let's explore what it would take to make some progress. And I think I'm not going to show that slide. I don't know what happened there. So if we're trying to get better, the big question is how do we bust through that plateau? And I was taught something just yesterday. I found this, it's not somebody's quote, it's a concept that someone gave to me. And they said, Brett, radical change is temporary, incremental change is permanent. And I'd like to talk a little bit about what it means from a process standpoint to get better as a leader. And what happens way too often is we get exposed to something exciting or we get dunked, 10 feet deep in a program or something that we really immerse in, and we take in a whole bunch of new ideas and it feels really good in the moment. But that's radical change. When we're trying to push a lot of ideas at someone quickly, you don't actually see that sustain often for leaders. If I teach you 100 things in 2 days, which we do in one of our workshops, and we have to work really hard to focus people in on, what are the few that you're going to take and work on, odds are you're going to go, wow, this is a lot of great stuff, and you're not going to change your behavior. But incremental change can be permanent, just making a little bit of progress steadily and consistently over time. And so one of the secrets to changing your trajectory as a leader is going to be figuring out how do you operationalize a process that helps you make that consistent incremental progress over time. Now, a few things that are fairly self-explanatory or obvious is, and I've covered on these briefly, is more information doesn't mean you're getting better. This is something I personally struggle with at times. I love reading books. I love listening to podcasts. I love finding new information. And you can trick yourself into thinking that by consuming more information, you're actually improving. Well, I would say you're not unless you can produce evidence that you're actually applying those concepts. Another sort of misconception is that experience means you're growing. Oh, I've been a manager for 17 years. Does that mean you're amazing at it? I would argue, I don't know. I need much more information. There are a lot of managers that have been doing it for a long time who have continued to grow. And there are a lot of managers who have stayed stuck right where they are, and they're no better than they were 10 years ago. And just having the good intentions, as I'm guessing anybody on this call has the good intentions of saying, I personally want to grow, I want to help other leaders grow, but good intentions don't make for progress. We need to talk about systematic ways to think about progress. So the crux of this webinar, and I know this is a lot of text on this slide, is going to be there are 8 essentials that you need to master if you want to change your leadership trajectory. If you want to take accountability for continuing to grow and develop and make progress. And I'm going to explain them briefly, and then I'm going to ask you to self-assess a little bit on the next slide. And then the meat of the webinar, we're going to dive into these and talk a little bit about what does this look like? Why does it matter? What are some warning signs you might be falling victim to these? What are some opportunities that we can take advantage of to start making progress, okay? So number one is just understanding, having a vision for what are you trying to become as a leader? A clear vision, clear principles for what it means to be a leader. And that's a question we ask prospects, clients, folks in our training programs. What does it mean to be a leader in your work environment? What kind of leader do you want to be? And it sounds like a simple question, but people really struggle to answer it. And that's because most of the time, organizations and individual leaders don't start with a clear vision or a clear playbook for what does it mean to be a leader. I'm not going to go deeper into that now. I'll do it in a little bit. But if you don't know where you're headed or exactly how you want to be, it's unlikely you're going to get there. Number 2 should be fairly obvious, but are you making time and do you have the tools you need? Do you know what skills you should be working on, and are you actually building and improving those skills? Number 3, are you doing it consistently? Are you making skill development a habit? Number 4, are you practicing? Not just going to a class or thinking about, but are you actually putting it in motion? Are you applying it in the real world? Number 5, only focus on a couple, 1, maybe 2 opportunities for improvement at a time. And when I say at a time, I mean in a month or in 2 months. Really stay focused on acquiring 1 or 2 skills that would mean a lot to you at a time, not more than that. And if you don't know exactly what you're working on right now, what would benefit you most, and if you don't have a plan for that, then this may be an area that you're falling a little bit victim to. Number 6 is not taking time to reflect on how you're doing. How did that meeting go? What could I have done better? What opportunities have I missed in the last week to lead my group more effectively? A little bit of opportunity for reflection can be something that is a missed opportunity that can change your trajectory. And the last 2, number 7 and 8, are you're not going to make as much progress if you don't have people to digest and discuss with. Hey, here's, what would you do in this situation? Or, boy, I've never thought of that. Or, boy, I did this and it didn't go great. So having folks to bounce ideas off of as a leader can really be helpful. And then the last thing that holds a lot of folks back from growth in so many aspects of life is being worried about looking dumb, not being successful, trying something and it coming off as inauthentic or not feeling great. That fear of failure or fear of discomfort can prevent us from trying new things and growing, right? And so we have to understand that development in almost any aspect of life requires us for trying things that we might not be perfect at, especially the first time. That's how we learn and grow. So a very brief introduction to that. I'm going to go to this next little screen and I'm going to invite you to participate for me here. I would love some feedback from all of you on this webinar on which one of those 8 areas, and I'll go over them again very briefly, but if you look at the list 1 through 8, what I'd love you to do is think which one of these might you be suffering from a little bit? Which one of these might be holding back your own growth? And what I would invite you to do in the chat is to just put the numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the chat. And if it's 5 of them, great. Put 1, 3, 5, 6, 7, whatever. Just type the numbers of any of these that you feel like, I'm not doing that to the degree that I could. And that could be number 1, not having clarity on what am I trying to become as a leader. Number 2, not making any time to learn new things. Number 3, not actually putting those into action. That's 3 and 4, right? Making it a habit and putting it into action. Number 5 would be either not doing. Let's say 5 is doing too many things. Let's say number 5 is I'm working on 11 things at once all the time and I'm not focused. Number 6 is I don't take any time to reflect. Number 7 is I don't have a peer group, and number 8 is I'm worried about trying new things. I just want to get a sense, because as I go through these, I can go a little deeper or a little softer depending on what numbers you guys give me here. All right. Okay. 4 and 5. 1, 3, 5, and 6. Thank you, Alexis. I'm going to see what kind of trends we get. 5 and 7. 1 and 2, number 1, 2 and 4, 7, 4, 5, 6. You guys are giving me a lot of spread here. 4, 5, 6. 4 and 5 are coming up quite a bit. Number 5, 5, 8, 7. You guys are giving me a lot of spread. I guess you're giving me a lot of leeway, a lot to work with here. Good. Well, for you individually, keep the numbers that you wrote down in mind and maybe even jot it down. So for instance, if you're Rachel and you wrote down 2, 4, and 7, maybe you want to just make a quick note that just says like being intentional about building skills. Number 4, finding opportunities to try them in real situations. And number 7, learning with others, right? Maybe just write those 3 things down so you can keep those as your top priorities as you go through the webinar, and maybe lean in a little extra when I get to that section. Thank you to everybody who gave me numbers there. So number 1, and this is a big one for us at Better Culture, and I don't hear this from a lot of other leadership development companies, but from the very founding of the organization that inspired all the work that we do today, I think I might have even seen a person, maybe Chris on here, from QLI. QLI is an organization that my father started years ago that became a best place to work year in and year out. And if you asked him, he would give you a lot of advice on what it takes to build an amazing place to work. But one of the most foundational things would be an answer to this question. Well, what does it mean to be a leader in that company? Can you give a clear answer to that question? What are leaders supposed to do? And he had, and we use these 7 principles of leadership at Better Culture that say things like, hey, it's a leader's job to build pride, to help employees feel appreciated, to always be focused on mission, culture, and excellence, to protect the right of good employees to work with other good employees, to make effective decisions, to deal effectively with conflict, to help people enjoy their work. Those types of clarity on what does it mean to be a leader, they give you direction. And so you don't have to use Better Culture's principles, but if you don't have some guideposts, some book you've read, some program you've been through, some individual philosophy or ethos on, you know what, I want to be a leader that does these 3 things all the time, then it's a missed opportunity to set your direction and to set a guidepost to say, here's what I'm working toward. I want to get better at this, right? And so a warning sign for that might be you commonly find yourself saying, I want to get better, but you just haven't clearly defined what better might look like. So if that's you, I might lean into this very first thing of figuring out what are the principles that I want to get better at? What's the vision I have for myself as a leader, and starting there. All right. Number 2, really working on, once you have those principles, building the skills that it takes to make those principles come to life. It's one thing to say, I want to be better at helping employees feel appreciated for the work that they do. Now, I can tell you via our employee engagement surveys and via a whole bunch of other information that's out there that if employees don't feel appreciated at work, they don't stick around. They're not motivated. They don't perform. They don't put forth discretionary effort. And I could explain the science behind that, but that's a principle, right? Number 1, we just went over, what does it mean to be a leader? It might be show appreciation. Well, in essential number 2, it's okay, how? What are the tactics? What are the skills? What can you do to help someone feel appreciated? And so we call that building skills, or building the mindsets that it takes to operationalize those ambitions that we're striving toward. All right. So a warning sign for you on this one, if might be to say, you know what, I notice opportunities or challenges. I notice that so-and-so is upset. I notice that meeting didn't go very well. I notice that the team just doesn't seem to be very committed to this new initiative we're rolling out. You're noticing things, but you commonly find yourself saying, I don't know what to do about it, right? I'm not sure how to change that. I'm not sure how to help this person grow. I'm not sure how to help the team improve, etc. If you're noticing that, then this might be an area that you say, you know what, maybe I should lean into building these skills, acquiring some additional knowledge on exactly how to become more effective as a leader, right? That trajectory shift would be to talk about, okay, what is the leadership capability or skill that would help me the most right now? And as we went through, even giving a scenario, if you'll just observe yourself at work and realize, okay, if I could get better at it, would make me the most, that would help me improve the most as a leader. And that might be some time management skills. It might be communication. It might be building pride. It might be holding people accountable. It might be talking, communicating about a vision more clearly. It might be, who knows? It might be just your energy level. It might be but knowing what would make the biggest difference for you to get better at is a really important step to busting through that plateau of feeling stuck as a leader. Okay. So that's essential number 2. I invite you, if you're interested in the chat, to share if you have any of those that come to mind. And they don't have to be things I mentioned. But if there's something, if you just reflected and you said, in my daily work or weekly work or monthly work, there's something that, I haven't slowed down enough to consider, but there's something I know I should be working on and I haven't. Now, you don't have to share on that if you don't want to, but I love to get a sense for what things pop up for people when they are exploring maybe what they should be working on. So I'm going to move to the next slide, but I would really love it if you guys would add those in there. That would give me a little bit of a sense for where those opportunities are. And I think the other folks on the call would appreciate too. I see a few brave folks have shared a few things, engaging more, increasing confidence, showing more appreciation, improving relationship with your boss. Yeah, I love it. Making sure managers are present during a crisis, right? Like not just during a crisis, but in the regular work days. Yeah, those are great. I love that. I'll look at those in a second again. I want to talk about number 3. Number 3 is making actual leadership development a habit, right? Number 1 was principles. Number 2 was understanding what you need to work on. Number 3 is developing a cadence for building those number 2 skills, right? That we just talked about. A cadence for how do you get better? Where do you go? What do you read? What do you listen to? What do you attend? What courses do you enroll in? Whatever that might look like. At the end of this webinar, I'm going to share a really unique opportunity to join an academy that we're launching at Better Culture that will help with probably all of these 8 areas, but this one specifically, giving you a clear answer to that question of, oh, well, here's my cadence, here's what I'm involved in, here's what I'm doing that's making development a habit. The warning sign for this one would be your leadership development is inconsistent, random, or mostly reactive. So you find yourself just running into scenarios or regularly being in situations where you're going, boy, I don't remember ever learning how to handle this, or I don't feel like I'm consistently getting new ideas or upskilling myself, right? And the shift is to figure out how can I create a predictable rhythm where I know I'm learning and applying things and incrementally getting better and stronger. I want to see if anybody else shared on that last one. Creating and guiding more in-depth conversations with people. Understanding priorities where they fit. Yep, absolutely. Not just with yours, but with the team or the companies. Those are helpful. Thank you, guys. I want to talk about number 4, which is really important, and that's actually getting off your phone, getting out from behind your email, getting out of your office and trying things, having conversations with people, trying to be a more effective leader. It means having the tough conversation. It means leaning in and building a relationship. It means trying something different in a team meeting. It means whatever it is you're trying to work on, ask yourself, how often am I actually trying something new? How often am I expanding my repertoire? And so the warning sign here would be you're consuming maybe some content, you listen to a podcast, you show up for a Better Culture webinar, and you feel like you're growing your thinking way more often than you're actually challenging yourself in practice. And if you're seeing that pattern that, oh, I love to read, I love this, I'm always trying to learn, but actually you're not doing much different on the day-to-day, this is a big potential growth area, right? It's finding a little bit of the courage and the energy, and sometimes it takes a little organization or planning, but to say, no, I'm going to lead differently this week. I'm going to stretch myself. I'm going to apply a concept. I'm going to try something. And what I find probably more than any other thing on these 8 is if you're doing this one, you're growing. Because you can't do this without the learning piece. You have to get new content, new ideas, new approaches in order to be able to apply them. But it's the people that learn but don't apply that I really see get stuck on that plateau. So that shift and what this would look like if you wanted to get better would be picking one real leadership situation every week and intentionally trying something new. Getting out of the rut, getting out of what you do consistently and saying, this could be just one approach to a one-on-one conversation. It could be something you do with the team. It could be something you do yourself, a reflection process, a planning process. But something that gets you out of your norm, trying something new every week is a great challenge if you want to grow. You try something new every week, and I promise in a year, in 2 years, in 3 years, you're going to grow like crazy. Let's see. Number 5. Focusing your improvement on just 1 or 2 skills at a time. Now, that's the advice, right? The blunder is doing too much. Oh my gosh, I went to a conference and I brought back 32 ideas, and I think I should do all of them. Well, you're probably going to do none of them, right? Focusing on just a couple things, one thing for the next 30 days. Right? Choose just one or two things that you know you should work on. The warning sign here is you enroll in every leadership development opportunity that comes along. Anything that ever pops up, you say, absolutely, I want to learn that. I want to be a part of that. It would actually be better if you said, nope, right now I'm focusing on this. I don't have time for that. Right now I'm focusing on this. This is what I know would help me as a leader. And if you're able to really focus and prioritize what you know would help you the most, you're set up to make the most progress. Number 6, the piece of advice is every once in a while, and I'm bad at this. This is a tough one for me. I have to work at this. I have to schedule time for this. I have to create processes for this, but just a little bit of time to reflect on how'd your week go? How did a meeting go? How did a one-on-one go? How did you guys fill in the blank? But this could be, daily is way too much for me. Some people like daily journaling or reflecting. Weekly is, I think, very reasonable. You block 15 minutes on your calendar on maybe lunch on Friday or on a Saturday morning, and you look back at your calendar. You mentally reflect back on your week. You think about the conversations you had, the projects you were involved with, the meetings that you had, and you think about what you're trying to accomplish, the things you're working on, growing on, and you meld them together and you go, okay, how'd I do? Not only how did I do in the opportunities where I was present and it was top of mind that I was trying to get something accomplished. That's important. It's almost as important that you reflect on the missed opportunities. Where did I miss an opportunity to work on those couple things that I said were important to me? And just a little bit of reflection, self-reflection creates that self-awareness, and it sets you up for success going forward. So that is a great process that if you're not doing, you're probably missing out on some growth and development that you could be finding. Number 7 is learning with others. So the warning sign here is if you think your growth and development is an isolated process. You know what? It depends on classes I go to, books I read, things I listen to, my lessons I learn. That's fine, but it's way faster to learn from the experience of other people. If you get yourself in a group of leaders and you say, how are we all growing today? And you listen to what other people are working on, what they're learning, what they're observing, what's working, you will learn and grow much more quickly than if you just say, I just have to get 15 years of hard-won experience and then all of a sudden I'll be set up for success. Well, you can speed that up by making this trajectory shift and just finding it doesn't even have to be consistent, ideally consistent, but place to connect with other leaders, people to share ideas, share what's worked, share what's not worked, to have a little bit of a community. And that could be just one mentor, or that could be a small group of colleagues or friends, or it could be a larger group like within our Better Culture Academy that we're launching. And number 7 is, and this one hurts me a little bit because I used to be this person and I'm not anymore. Now I'm very comfortable getting out on a wire and trying something new and understanding that I'm not going to be perfect. But if when you struggle with confidence, when you struggle with self-doubt a little bit, when you struggle with wanting to fit in or not wanting to rock the boat, that can really hold you back from trying something that would help you grow, that might help someone else, that might help your team. And if you expect your learning process or trying something new to be perfect, then a lot of times we don't have that tough conversation that feels a little uncomfortable or we're not sure how it's going to go. And when we do that, our growth suffers. So the warning sign here is you avoid trying new leadership approaches because they feel awkward, risky, or well, maybe I won't do it just right. The trajectory shift would be to say, no, I'm gonna learn fast. I'm gonna fail fast. I'm gonna be inspired by some sort of Silicon Valley approaches to saying, heck no, I'm gonna try a lot of new things, and I'm gonna learn which ones work for me, which ones don't. If I make some blunders along the way, I will genuinely apologize or let people know, oh my gosh, I didn't mean to, I'll clean up my messes, but I'm gonna try new things because I know the more I try, the more I will learn and grow. So those are the 8 shifts that I hope I've inspired you to lean into at least a few of those, if not all 8. After going through those, I want you to reflect again on what might be your bottleneck. all of us have at least one of these that we're not optimizing, that's for sure. Probably most of us on this call could get better at all 8, but we all have at least a few that we're not optimizing. And you don't have to share it again in the chat. But just, which ones of those might be keeping you on that plateau or keeping others you work with on that plateau? Because when we can identify what those are and get a little bit more intentional about it, all of a sudden that trajectory takes off like a rocket ship. You will see a lot of progress, both personally on your team and across your organization. But knowing what those 8 things are and knowing what to do about it are not the same thing, right? So understanding what your blockage is and knowing what to do about it are 2 very different things. And so I want to share an opportunity with a very significant discount as well, which I'm going to share on the webinar, that we are so excited with at Better Culture, that checks all of these 8 boxes in the way we can best do it. And that is, for the first time ever, if you haven't heard yet, in July of this year, Better Culture is going to launch a virtual leadership academy. Now, we have done small group cohort programs, we've done year-long programs in the past, but they were often done in person in the Omaha, Nebraska area. And Better Culture's reach is so much beyond that, our geography anymore. Those in-person programs don't work. And so we've spent the last year building a vision for what would an online, a virtual community, a leadership academy look like, that people could join from anywhere at any time at different even stages of their leadership journey, and really help consistently develop and grow their leadership trajectory. So what we've built in this academy isn't just training content, it's a growth system that is designed to help leaders bust through that academy. This is an early screenshot from what the academy looks like on the inside. Now, it doesn't launch until July of 2026, but when you get in the academy, there'll be a feed in there of current things going on, or questions, or recent classes, or conversations that are happening on. We have the ability to do little special events or to launch challenges, etc. But mostly, what the core of the program is 3 things that happen every month. Okay, and those 3 things are: there will be 1 live class that will be instructed by Better Culture every month. Now, most of the time that'll be me, but we may have a few other hosts that get involved as well as the program goes. There will be courses I'll show in a second, but over the course of a calendar year, you get through all the live classes. Every month, there's also a second session, which is called an Ask Us Anything session. And what that means is that the first session, the live leadership session, we're bringing the content, we're teaching the ideas. Session number 2, our members bring their real world challenges, what's going on their team, they bring actual leadership challenges to the group, to the community, and we discuss what's going on in your world. So that happens every month. And then the third thing is anything that's happening inside our community, our resources, our discussion pages, things like that. All 3 of those things are happening every single week. There's a live class, there's a discussion opportunity to talk about what's going on in your world, and then there's just whatever else is happening on the community discussion boards, etc. And over a 12-month rhythm, you get through all 10 of our core classes, which are mapped to our 7 principles of leadership pretty effectively. And these categories were originally formed by a focus group that we did with about 25 different employers when we asked, what are the biggest pain points that you're seeing in trying to develop leaders inside of your system? And so they said it's things like dealing with problem employees. It's things like developing people, building stars, appreciation and recognition, mastering conflict, setting and achieving goals, building high-performing teams, not sucking at communication. That one comes up all the time. They don't say it that way. But communication. So one of these topics is taught live every month with recordings available, 1 Ask Us Anything session, and then the community features. These are our first couple sessions that'll be happening in July. We're starting with Instilling Pride as our live session, plus an Ask Us Anything session if you happen to join. And I want to close before I'll do a little FAQ on things we're hearing about the Academy and problems we hope it solves. I want to mention that it checks all 8 of these boxes. It starts with clear principles. We'll teach practical skills that are useful. If you come every month, you'll have built a habit We will be giving you a little bit of light homework. Hey, try this in the real world, see how it goes, etc. between sessions. We'll ask you to focus on what you need to make progress on. In your homework, you'll be doing some reflection. And if you come to the Ask Us Anything sessions, that's a great opportunity to reflect. You'll have a community to learn with. And we will always be pushing our members to realize that that progress is imperfect. So we've done our best just theoretically to build this framework in the way that best helps leaders grow and knocks down all of these barriers. I do have a very nice discount coming on the next slide. If you'll bear with me, these are the questions people are asking, and so I do want to answer them on this webinar. Who's the Virtual Leadership Academy designed for? Really, entry-level, emerging leaders, all the way up through mid-level leaders is the core demographic. But we have a few more experienced folks that are excited to be in the program, and we have a few folks that aren't currently managing anybody that's in the program. But the core demographic is kind of emerging leader to mid-level manager is a great fit. The program starts in July of 2026. You can enroll right now, but there will be no live instruction until July, and that's when your membership starts, is July. How much time is required every month? 90 minutes minimum. Come to a live class, watch the recording if you can't make it. Those are 90 minutes long. Whatever you put in beyond that is the stuff that will help you make more or less progress. Come to an Ask Us Anything session. That's optional. I hope you'll come. Come to be on the discussion board, apply your stuff, do some homework. So 90 minutes minimum a month with a little bit more beyond that if you want to really take advantage of the opportunities. Ask Us Anything sessions aren't technically required, but I do think they're very, very valuable. Of course, if your organization wants to enroll multiple people in a program like this, if it's 4 or more folks, it typically doesn't make sense to just put in your credit card and enroll. So contact us. Some bulk pricing is available for larger purchases if you'll reach out. And lastly, there is a certification. If you get through all 10 classes over a year, if you complete some quizzes, etc., you do receive a certification that says, hey, I've been through the Mindset Leadership Program. It's a nice little thing you can put on LinkedIn, put on your resume if you'd like, etc. So any other questions, please put them in the chat. I'd be happy to answer those as we go. I'm not going to wait for those questions because I want to show you the discount, but I will notice them if you put them in and you have them. Here's what we're trying to do to kick this off. Right now, we have about 20 folks enrolled in the program. There is no cap on how many people can get in the program. I'd love to have 50 when we kick it off in July to have a really vibrant community. And in doing that, we're making a special pre-launch offer. Once the community goes live in July, we're not going to be making these kinds of offers anymore. But from now until the end of June, if you watched this webinar, this code is only showing up here. You can go to betterculture.com/academy is how you find the program. And if you, on the checkout page, if you go down below the credit card section, if you'll just put in webinar 50, it takes what is a $1,299 enrollment down to $650. So for a year long, for access to a year-long course, when we used to do this in person, a 7-month half-day program in person, it was almost $3,000 to be a part of that cohort. We're really excited to make this more accessible through our virtual community to get more folks into it. And if you're interested, now would be the time to join while we're trying to get our numbers up in pre-enrollment here by using this webinar code. So hope you'll check that out. I don't see any questions in there, so I'm going to move to sort of a closing slide, and then hang on, I have a little instruction for you at the very end. The question here, if you're interested in growing as a leader, isn't, it is, are you stuck? Are you on a certain path? Would you like to bust through that trajectory? And if so, I would really encourage you to consider that you should do it more intentionally than by default, right? Design how you're going to continue to grow, etc. As soon as I close this webinar, you're going to get a survey where if you'd like to some more information, please rate the webinar, give us some feedback, but you can indicate if you'd like any more info or a follow-up on that survey. So please stick around for that to pop up when I close out. You will also get an email with a little bit more information that'll come with a recording of this webinar and anything else that you might need. So thank you guys very much for being here. I so appreciate it. Keep coming to our Better Culture webinars. We always want to add value. Let us know what we could be doing better. And I hope I'll see you inside the Virtual Leadership Academy. Thanks a bunch.